this year. NAS pledges to rework Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Parties expected greater performance from INEC and don't have proper membership I'll take that again. Parties expected greater performance from INEC, IPAC. Amendments will be swift, Baja assures. False argument that political parties don't have proper membership registration. Affair Babalola, there must be an enabling environment for Nigerian women participate effectively in shaping the political landscape of the country. You can find the story on page 15 of the Vanguard newspaper. Declare full war on bandits as they are now terrorists, Senate tells the federal government. APC convention, why CECPC fixed February 26th. The last story says Nigeria's non-oil exports rise 11% to $4.4 billion. This is all the news on the Vanguard newspaper. So, yesterday we were talking about the bandits, how they have taken hold of Zamfara State and they were demanding for ransom from the citizens there. So, the indigents rather. So now we can see that the Senate is still telling the federal government to declare full war on these people since they have been declared terrorists. Declare full war on them. Do what you have to do to take care of this situation that is causing a lot of havoc in the country. So I think it's a good thing that the Senate are calling out the federal government to declare full war on the bandits.
Yes, and also the governors of the state have gone to meet with Mr. President on issues of insecurity in the state, and you can see that the go-ahead have been given to them to deal with those people and also nullify all their plans and also try to scatter all their intention and also the machineries they are using to destroy those people. That means the army are given the opportunity to go there and destroy those people and also try to release those people that have been held captive by this bandit. This is now, since they've been given the go ahead, we know the military just here go. They are given the go ahead. We just hope that they'll go into these places, because hearing that all these bandits have taken over some community, some local government, and even put the indigents in hostage, demanding for money from them, demanding for petrol from them, you can see that even their life at risk when you talk about the indigents. So we just want to hear that something have been done concerning these people, since the governors are making extra effort to see the way that they can neutralize those people and also bring them to bring out those people that have been held hostage in the den of all these insurgents. We just want to hear good news that something have been done and people are freed from this den, and also those local governments that have been taken by this insecurity and insurgent group will be released and people can go back to their normal activities and do things as it's supposed to be.
Going next to the news.
Yes, the next paper we have the Daily Sun newspaper, which says President Buhari commissions patrol vehicles equipment purchased by NPTF for police, with the rider saying equipment tested found to be of high standard, coming from the Inspector General of Police. This is a good move, talking about the police unit, talking about launching patrol vans and also equipment to fight insecurity. This is time where we need not just about having all this equipment, but availability of this equipment, because there was a time when we had the patrol vans being launched, but when people are in distress and people are in danger, when they call on the police, we know the normal thing we hear, you say there's no petrol in the vehicle. But now with this vehicles being launched, we just hope that when people are in distress and in danger and they call on the police for help, we just hope that they will respond very swift. Because if you look at foreign countries, when you call on the police for safety, or call on the police when you're in distress, they respond very swift. swift. So we just hope that something like that will be done. We don't have issues where they say we don't have petrol, our cars are in bad shape. So we just hope that when people call on the police for safety, when the people call on the police to intervene in different situations, they will be swift to respond, because now that vehicles have been made available for them, we just hope that they will also be available. They won't use the cars for their own personal purposes, because we've seen when all these vehicles are used for personal purpose. Now it's for the community, it's for the people. So they should give back to the people. Since the government have provided these vehicles for them, it's time for them to give back to the people in their own way.
And you know, talking about using the vehicles for their personal purpose, there was one I saw, a police Hilux filled with yam inside. So you can imagine that when such let's say a situation comes and then they call on these people, how will you be able to effectively reach that place that those people that are in danger, and then with your Hilux filled with yam, how will you be able to do that, you know? So they should use those vehicles for the purpose in which they have been bought or made available for. So it's a good thing that they got those vehicles.
Definitely. And still on the Daily Sun, we have High Chiefs agrees to withdraw court case, delaying announcement of next Olubadan, with details in page 3, while the big story says National Assembly dumps plan to override Buhari revisit electoral bill, and the rider says likely to pass bill today. INEC blames delay in the release of 2023 timetable on non-passage. The House of Representatives, I would like to read the story which says the House of Representatives on Wednesday reintroduced the Electoral Act Amendment Bill to address the concern raised by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, made this known on Tuesday while addressing the lawmakers who resumed sitting for the year after Christmas and New Year break. Gbajabiamila stated that the bill will be immediately reworked, passed and sent to President Buhari for assent after the House resolved not to override the president. He said that the failure of political parties to have a standard registration of members was being used to deny Nigerians the opportunity to participate in the nomination of candidates for election. The Speaker noted that there is a need for lawmakers to fast-track work on the electoral reform ahead of the 2023 general election. It's all said here, they need to fast-track and also work hard on the electoral bill before the incoming election, which is 2023, February 2023. And still on the Daily Sun, on Kanu, IPOB ground southeast as Ozekome joins defense team. Government offices, market, schools, banks shot, and hoodlums attack Onitsha. Federal government launches rice pyramid, promises drop in price. And the rider says PDP mocks president, APC overclaims. And Hadiza Usman denies non-remittance of NPA's 40 billion naira to federal government. With details in page 24. 220 killed in 17 days in Niger. This is coming from the governor of Niger State, Governor Bello Matawalle. The rider says Matawalle seeks more effort to tackle banditry in Zamfara. And in Oyo State, on the issue of kidnapping, Oyo Commissioner of Police visits those areas where they're having issues of kidnapping. So when I say it's not just in Niger State, it's not just in Kaduna State, but almost all parts of this country, we're having issues of insecurity, and it's narrowed down to kidnapping, killings, ritual activities. So you can see that this is time for the Commissioner of Police in different states to rise up and put in more effort, put in more actions in ways we can curb this issue, because with all these kidnapping activities, you see that ransom are being demanded from families, and you see that they go out of their way just to bring out their loved ones from such places. And you see that even now that we have issues rate of unemployment. We see issues that even money is not in circulation. You see that they sell their properties, they sell their assets just to see that their loved ones are being released. And the stigma and the trauma in the life of the families, and even the psychological problem in the life of those that have been kidnapped. So we just hope that something will be done about all these issues of insecurity, so that it will be curbed. And we see that Governor Matawale also is looking for ways he can go out of the normal ways to curb insecurity, looking at ways he can enforce more teams to fight insecurity, because seeing the issue where 220 people have been killed in 17 days in Niger State is really bad. How many people are in Niger State? And you should looking at the number of people that are being killed every day. It's really sad. So you can see that the life of people are under threat. People are living there in fear, and you're not supposed to live in a country of yours in fear. So something needs to be done about this. Those states that are safe should not just be relaxed, but they should launch in more troops into those forests and into those different hideouts, because we heard that the insurgent group are trying to move from one place to the other where they can have availability of food. So states that are safe should not be relaxed at this point in time. They should look out for ways their security agents, security sectors can be deployed in this hideout so that they can curb insecurity. And we just look out for a day where our country will be free from all this insurgent group, and they will be nullified to total. And that's all for the Daily Sun newspaper.
And you know, we will not get tired of talking about insecurity in this country until it's been wiped out and people live normal lives as we were living before. You know, one of the major agendas of the president before he came to power was to curb insecurity. And then we have seen how it has heightened from how it has been before. Now, so many things are happening, and then we'll continue calling on the government to do the needful so that people will live normal lives. Going next to the Nigerian News Direct newspaper, Abiodun Autumn Namani confirmed participation in Nigerian News Direct 11th anniversary ceremony. On infrastructure, Oyetola approves massive rural roads grading. You can find the story on page 2 of Nigerian News Direct newspaper. NIPOS to become people's choice in logistics. This is coming from Postmaster General. The big story here says NLC proposed protest. No presidential directive for fuel subsidy removal. This is coming from Senate President. You can find the story on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. And this issue of fuel subsidy has been ongoing for a while, and people have been agitating. The Senate have been on it and all of that. And now today we've read from the papers that Lawan met with President Buhari about the issue of fuel subsidy, and then the president said there is he didn't order any issue of fuel subsidy to be removed. And now the Minister of Petroleum said fuel subsidy will be from now to the first half of the year. Then it will be removed, where the remaining part of the year, the fuel subsidy will have to be on the citizens. And the Senate are saying, no, this body is going to be too much on the citizens. Why remove fuel subsidy? That was why he had to go to the president, and the president said he did not order that. So I think it's a good thing that the president didn't order for the removal of fuel subsidy, because we know that in Jos, fuel has been scarce for a while now. When you go to fuel stations, you find out that they are locked and all of they are just hoarding fuel from people, from motorists and other riders. So I think now that this is confirmed, these fuel stations should make fuel available for people to be able to purchase it and then use it for whatever use.
Definitely.
Still on the Nigerian News Direct newspaper, Black Tuesday, 4 dead, 12 injured in Lagos-Ibadan Express Road accident. Alleged 6 billion naira fraud. Court grants Momfa 200 million naira bail, fixes trial for March 28. LIRS announces January 31st deadline for filing annual tax returns to impose penalties and sanctions. The last story here says digital innovation. NITDA begins hackathon for students, entrepreneurs in Adamawa State. These are all the news stories you can find on the Nigerian News Direct newspaper.
Thank you, Lois. Moving to this day newspaper, prices of rice, other food items to crash soon, Buhari assures. The rider says rice importation from Thailand drops by 99.83% as Emefiele praises farmers for their doggedness despite challenges. Another rider says President hails CBN Governor Fayemi Bagudu other contribution to agriculture, and PDP mocks federal government, APC for unveiling pyramid of lies. Still on the This Day, Lawan saying National Assembly to rework and pass electoral bill on Wednesday, with details in page 8 of the This Day newspaper. While the big story says February 26, APC convention, all eyes on these men. We shall make it a policy convention, says Fayemi, and the pictures of these men who all eyes are on are in front of This Day newspaper. And we have Kashim Ibrahim and Tanko Almakura. We have Abdullahi Adamu and Senator George Akume. Can APC afford an elective convention? It's a question in front of This Day newspaper, and also a picture story where we can see the rice revolution. And the last story on This Day, we have presidency. Buhari has broken jinx of presidents enriching themselves, and also cronies. Details can be found in page 43 of This Day newspaper, and those are all the headlines on This Day newspaper.
Moving on to the Punch newspaper. Labour list condition for fuel subsidy removal, says $9.5 billion wasted on refineries. You can find the story if you're so interested in it on page 10. Cash-strapped banks borrowed 9.17 trillion naira from CBN in 7 months. Will forward amended Electoral Act bill to Buhari this week. This is coming from Lawan. You can find the story on page 2. We are preparing to launch second satellite in 2022. This is coming from Minister. The big story says APC zones chairmanship seat to North Central, list Southeast for secretary. The rider says South to get deputy chair. We are confident of winning 2023 elections, says Buni. Committee concludes other positions today, confirms February 26th convention date. If you're so interested in the story, you can find it on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. IPOB sit at home ground Southeast. Kanu's trial holds today. And it says Nigeria-born Canadian minister suspended for using phone while driving. FRSC blames speeding as 12 killed in Ogun, Ondo highways crashes. Presidency wealthy aspirants will fail or should bad job best in APC, says ex-governor Aliyu. Abuja passengers kick as NCAA stops departing plane for inspection. NSCDC snaps 4 herdsmen robbing travelers on Kwara Highway. You can find the story on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. The last story says no capital votes for NIPOST in 28 years. This is coming from Postmaster General. These are all the news stories you can find on the Punch newspaper.
On Al Jazeera midweek, the big story here says Rice Pyramid. CSO loud Buhari Emefiele over future. Here, Nigerian can be self-sufficient, coming from President Muhammadu Buhari, and the rice farmers assures price will fall. Intervention will be sustainable, says CBN governor. The president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, has declared that his government is on the path of taking the country to food sufficiency. Buhari made this disclosure on Tuesday in Abuja during the unveiling of the Federal Capital Territory Mega Rice Pyramid. According to him, with the steady increase in the number of farmers and food items getting support from the Anchor Borrowers Program and the visible progress in this regard, Nigeria is surely on track towards food sufficiency. The president stated that already maize, rice, palm oil, cocoa, cotton, cassava, tomato and livestock are part of the 23 commodities supported by the scheme, which has led to improved food production and employment generation, both directly and indirectly. And still on Al Jazeera midweek, Italian mayor on hunger strike resigned to protest COVID-19 rule. And one killed as Chelsea-Barcelona fans clash in Casina. 28-year-old Abdullahi from Danja local government area of Casina State allegedly lost his life during an argument over a better team between two European football clubs, Chelsea and Barcelona. The argument had resulted in a fight between him and his alleged killer, 15-year-old Yusuf. The editorial on this we have still on the Electoral Amendment Bill, with details in page 3 of the Al Jazeera midweek. An FCT Internal Revenue Service targets over 200 billion naira revenue. And on news, we have Nnamdi Kanu's trial continues today. While on business, federal government mills nationwide sale of 10 million gas cylinders. While on politics, at last, APC convention to hold February 26. And on sport, Eagles vow maximum points in dead rubber game against Guinea-Bissau. Talking about the rice pyramid that have been launched in Abuja, we can see part of the agenda of Mr. President is to see that there is availability of food and sufficiency of food is really good, because there's this slogan which says man must work. Human being needs to eat to make ends meet, and even to go out to the day-to-day activities. We see issue of children being malnourished. We see even issues of parents being malnourished, and also the increase in crime rates. And when they are apprehended, they now it down to hunger, trying to make ends meet, trying to provide for their family. People go out to steal. People go out to do some illegal activities. So looking at the issue where food will be available, the president spoke about rice, maize, cocoa, cassava, and even tomatoes and cattle will be made available. Definitely we need food to be sufficient in our country. And also this rice pyramid, it will have a way of providing employment to people, and we just hope that it will go the right way, because not just talking about providing employment and also the availability of this food, but we really need to see it in action, that definitely food will be available, and also the price of rice will also drop, because when rice is available, all these foods are available, definitely the price should drop. And also when these food are made available, people, the sellers should not hoard it, and even the farmers, they should not hoard it, because now we see that people want to go into food storage. It's really good. They try to hoard what they have, and now it will be very, very expensive. But with all this rice and this cassava and cocoa made available, it should be made available in the market for people to be able to purchase, and the price should also drop from the normal price we know that we normally buy buy it now. People should not hoard it. They should make food available in the market for people to be able to eat, and also look out for ways they can go about running around, because with an empty stomach, Lois, believe you me, you can't run around for any daily activity. Food needs to be available, and this is a good step. We just hope that other things will be looked into, other things will be made available in the market, so that life of citizens can be favorable. People can live their normal life, and Nigeria will be a place where people can live and be proud to say, I am a Nigerian. That's all for the Jazara midweek.
Okay, moving on to Daily Independent newspaper. Consensus candidacy threatens APC February 26th convention. CBN crashes rise importation from 1.3 MMT to 2,160 MT in 2021. The big story says we'll pass adjusted electoral bill this week. This is coming from the Senate President. The writer says bill to be considered on the floor of National Assembly today. Says Buhari never told anyone to remove fuel subsidy. NAS to send constitution amendment report to state assembly soon. You can find the story on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. INEC blames delay in release of 2023 poll timetable on non-passage of electoral bill. Oshibajo is APC's best candidate for president. This is coming from Babangida Aliyu. The last story here says soldiers dislodge ESN operators, kill many in Anambra. The writer says IPOB sit at home order paralysis activities in Owerri. Nnamdi Kanu's trial continues today. These are all the stories you can find on the Daily Independent newspaper.
Thank you, Lois. Moving to Sweet Report Crude newspaper. Campaign against illegal refineries is war. Operators will face full force of law coming from the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. And the big story says NLNG to supply 100% of LPG production to Nigerian markets. Court to resume hearing on Saipen Rivers gas turbine suits January 18. And federal government sets 4.1 trillion naira revenue target for custom in 2022. That's all the news on the front page of Sweet Crude Report.
Moving on to the Nation newspaper, the big story says how governors foiled plot to scuttle APC convention. The writer says new leaders to be elected February 26th. Buhari supports sealed dates. Nigerian on food sufficiency path, says Buhari. And president to get reworked electoral bill this week. Lawan raises hope. Senate House begin work. No decision yet on petrol subsidy removal, says Lawan. 2023 coalition begins lobby for Jonathan. Stock investors for terrorism link screening. Fresh treason charges force shift of Nnamdi Kanu's trial. You can find the story on page 4. And the last story says transporters to pay 800 naira levy daily to Lagos government. Oil firms relocate offshore. These are all the stories that you can find on the Nation newspaper.
Thank you, Lois. Before we continue, we'll be right back after this timeout where we'll open our phone lines for your calls. Welcome back. We're halfway into the program from the Dailies on Equa Television. And at this point, our phone lines are opened for your call. We're still reviewing papers making headlines on an international and national papers. And the next paper, we have the Nigerian Tribune, which says political elites eager for Buhari's departure from office wants access to public funds, coming from the presidency. And on 2023, we can't release timetable until Electoral Act is passed, coming from INEC, with the rider reps to reintroduce Electoral Act amendments today. Reports that NPA didn't remit 40 billion naira under me is false, coming from Hadiza Usman. And National Assembly to transmit proposed constitution amendment to state assemblies in February, coming from the Speaker, Femi Bajabiamila. Olubadan High Chiefs agree to withdraw court cases, with full details on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. The big story on terrorism says Niger communities hit 50 times this month, coming from the governor of Niger State, says 220 killed, 200 kidnapped within 2 weeks. Soldiers, bandits in fierce gun battle in Kaduna community. Uzekome to lead Kanu's defense team. The rider says as court orders DSS to allow him change clothes, do exercise matters adjourned till today. As court orders DSS to allow him change clothes, do exercise matter adjourned till today, with details in page 11. And on kidnapping, security operatives now patrolling both sides of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, coming from the Commissioner of Police of Oyo State. Lagos bus driver to pay 800 naira each daily to government from February 1st. 12 die in Ondo Lagos-Ibadan Expressway accident, with details in page 26. Good morning, Mr. Abubakar from Sokoto. Good morning, Mr. Abubakar. Please move away from your TV set.
I want to, make a reaction on the, Babangida's statement about the, Osibanjo is the best candidate for Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria at every time I need someone like Osibanjo with a higher pedigree, the senior pastor, senior professor, and senior administrator of Nigeria. I believe, all is safe in Nigeria to the, promised land. And if he is, given opportunity, definitely Nigeria will prosper. So I concur with him and I wish, Professor Emilio Osibanjo, as very bright, future success, in the 2023, election. His presidential ambition, I believe, is a national project and it's for all. So,
Thank you, Mr. Abubakar. Talking about what Governor Ali, former governor of Niger State, spoke about, as Ali is talking about Osibanjo, the right choice for 2023 presidential election. It's Mr. Abubakar is talking about that it will be a good step for Osibanjo to take the mantle, but I keep on saying Osibanjo is a matured person and he is bold enough to speak for himself. Let him speak up for himself. It's not time for us to enforce power on anybody. He should speak for us, because it's not just a game looking at 2023 election, because with the issues we are going through as in a country, the mantle of leadership should be given to the right person. We shouldn't enforce leadership and the mantle on anyone. Thank you, Mr. Abubakar. The phone lines are still open for you to call. Still on Nigerian Tribune newspaper, Buhari didn't direct petroleum subsidy removal, coming from the Senate president. The rider says doubt 100 million liters per day PMX consumption story. Says Buhari may receive Electoral Amendment Act bill next week. And those are all the stories on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
Moving on to the Business Day newspaper, the big story says 10 years after protests, over $60 billion on.
Sorry, we have Pastor Ayo from Ibadan. Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
Do well to call us back. Yes, you can continue.
Yes, still on the Business Day newspaper, it says 10 years after protest, over $60 billion on subsidy, no change. China, India freight cost declines as container scarcity abates. White Tech North branches is king for Nigerian banks. If you're so interested in this, you can find it on page 2 of the Business Day newspaper. The last story here says, attract more investment, borrow less, experts tell federal government. These are all the stories or the headlines on the Business Day newspaper.
Thank you, Lois. On the Daily Trust newspaper, bandits killed 220 people in Niger in 17 days. This is coming from the governor, Governor Bello Matawale. Definitely, we're not proud of this, but we just hope that something and quick intervention will be done in Niger and even other states where we're having issues of insecurity and insurgency. And still on insecurity, Osibanjo Ganduje, Lalong harp on role for traditional rulers, and bumpy roads to February 26 APC convention. While the big story says, Lawan, Buhari didn't order fuel subsidy removal, says Nigeria not consuming up to 100 liters per day. President's statement will confuse economy, coming from an expert, and it will be suicidal to remove subsidy ahead of general election. 25-year-old housewife commits suicide in Kano. Troops kill IPOB militant in Anambra forest. And Senate moves to regulate house rent in Abuja. While the last story says Buhari unveils 1 million bags mega rice pyramid in Abuja, with details in page 26 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And that's all for the Daily Trust.
Moving on to the Guardian newspaper, President didn't order fuel subsidy removal, Lawan clarifies. APC holds convention February 26th. Stakeholders insist date not sacrosanct. Lagos transporters to pay 24,000 naira monthly levies besides NURTW, RTEA and dues. Only 6 of Nigeria's offshore rigs operational as oil prices near $90. The big story here says Nigeria caught double-digit deficit financing amid fiscal indiscipline. The writer says FG acknowledges concerns, hopes to improve revenue generation. Lawan, government will keep borrowing to fund development until revenue rises. And scale down size of government, cost of governance, says Yusuf. The last story here says INEC hangs 2023 election timetable on passage of electoral bill. You can find all the stories on the Guardian newspaper.
And for this Nigerian newspaper, President to get back Electoral Act Amendment Bill today, Senate President. And Ozekome takes over Kanu's case, falls new charges. Coming from the judge directs DSS to change Kanu's clothes. And the big story says APC National Convention, jigsaw over February 26. Committee yet to make known zoning of offices and also the venues. It's illegal for CECPC to fix date, ETA ex-deputy national chair. The chairman of All Progressive Congress, APC Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee and Governor of Yobe State, Maimala Buni, has confirmed February 26 as the date set aside for the party's national convention. Buni, who made this known on Tuesday at the ongoing Progressive Women Conference in Abuja, said the date is sacrosanct and nothing will stop the convention from holding. He, however, urged women in the party to come out massively and contest in the forthcoming national convention. On 2023, why I won't support Tinubu, coming from Ojudu, with details in page 10. And troops dislodge IPOB, ESN stronghold, recovers weapon in Anambra. Security Network, ESN, have been killed by troops of the Nigerian Army in a joint operation. The IPOB fighters were killed during a gun battle with soldiers of the Nigerian Army and other security forces in Anambra State. According to a statement on Tuesday by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, the gun battle took place on Monday at Lilu Forest in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State. Lilu is a border town between Imo and Anambra State, and according to the Army statement, the forest has served as an operational hideout for the IPOB and the ESN members. The statement by Nwachukwu revealed that several weapons and items, including 10 pump-action shotguns, 2 locally fabricated guns, 1 revolver pistol round of 7.62 meter special, live cartridge machetes, and IPOB flags were recovered from the battle scene. And on terrorism, Niger communities attacked 50 times in January, Governor Bello discloses. And that's all for this Nigerian newspaper.
Okay, heavy security as court set to deliver judgments in Nnamdi Kanu versus the federal government. Just a quick one. Heavily armed security operatives have cordoned off the roads leading to the premises of Abia State High Court complex located on Ikpene Road, Umahia, as the court is set to deliver judgment today on the suit filed by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, against the federal government. As early as 7 o'clock a.m., detachments of security personnel had been deployed around the court premises. All the roads leading to the court have also been barricaded, thus forcing motorists and pedestrians to take alternate routes. Journalists and staff of the court, as well as people accessing the premises, were asked to produce their identity cards before allowing access to the premises. The preceding Judge, Justice Benson Anya, had during the hearing last year ordered security agents to stop interfering with those coming to the court during the court hearing of Nnamdi Kanu. He said that the security operatives were creating unnecessary tension by their actions. Meanwhile, lawyers and various stakeholders were cited around the court premises, including Kanu's special counsel, Aloy Ejimako, who is leading a team of other lawyers for Kanus. So right now, the court proceeding of Kanu's court case is ongoing, and today they are going to pronounce the judgment between him and the federal government. So we'll just look out for how it will end later. So going to Blueprint newspaper, INEC ties election timetable to yet to be signed electoral bill. With launch of rice pyramid, Buhari assures of price crash. FCT IRS targets 200 billion naira revenue, launches aggressive tax drive. Presidential amnesty begins training of 400 ex-agitators. The big story here says Lawan counters finance minister, Buhari never ordered fuel subsidy removal. The writer says Nigerians insist they can't bear the burden. 100 million litre daily consumption unrealistic. Despite our infrastructure decay, we can't be borrowing endlessly. This is coming from the Senate. You can find the story on page 6. COVID-19 made Nigerian billionaires richer by 38%. This is coming from Oxfam. Niger lost 220 to terrorists in 17 days. This is coming from Bello. Buni confirms February 26 dates as APC National Convention. Troops foil attacks, rescue 8 hostages, kill 3 bandits in Kaduna. The last story here says Niger Delta reps urge licenses for modular refineries. These are all the stories you can find on the Blueprint newspaper.
And on First newspaper, we have the Senate President saying Buhari didn't direct anyone to remove fuel subsidy. And DQ inaugurates part-time training scheme with 400 ex-agitators. Electoral bills non-passage delaying 2023 polls timetable coming from INEC. And the big story says bandit killed 300 Niger residents in 17 days. Coming from the governor, we have issued is contradicting. We have 220 and we're having 300. We just hope that the right number, the actual number, will be out, because coming from the different papers, we're having 220 and 200 residents kidnapped, and now we're having 300 Niger residents being killed. All are still narrowed down to sad news. We just hope that something will be done about all these issues of death and also kidnapping and killings in all the states. Says 200 others also abducted within the same period, and why corrupt politicians don't want another Buhari in 2023, coming from the presidency. And still on 2023, irritants threatening me, my family, for not supporting Tinubu, Ojudu alleges. Senate to compel Abuja landlords to receive rent monthly as bill passes first reading. And pressure groups back Jonathan begin aggressive tour of states. While the last story says Babangida Aliyu declares Osibanjo APC's best for 2023 presidency. And that's all for First News. Lois, any word for our viewers?
When we realize life's impermanence, we seek a love that will never end. Make sure you show love to someone today.
And never give in except in conviction of honor and of good sense. Have a good day.